have a little bit of a headache because I'm a little bit hungover. I have no photos from my ugly Christmas sweater party last night, except for this random photo I sent to my sister before I left the house. Happy day 7 of Vlogmas. Let's talk about today's workout, Mind Pump MAPS Anabolic. So this is their first program. I actually bought it, I feel like I bought this like 10 years ago. Did I ever actually do it? No. So now's the day, 10-year redemption. If you don't know who Mind Pump is, I guess the best way to explain it is like, it's like a few dudes. They're very, very knowledgeable when it comes to strength training. They have a lot of programs. They have a podcast. Their podcast is actually really informative. They're a little bro-y, like especially for the podcast, if you can get past like the bro talk, if that's not your thing, there's nothing wrong with it. But if it's like not your thing and you can just get past it, awesome. If not, I have other podcasts I could recommend to you. Let me know down below. But I went on their website and Sal actually has an intro video talking about what MAPS Anabolic is, and I took a few key points out of it. A few things I noted was that this program will maximize muscle building and boost your metabolism. So this to me really is just a fancy way of saying like it's a hypertrophy program. We talked about this a little bit more on day 3 with the Shanti Dig Deeper workout. Boosting metabolism. I guess we kind of just talked about the metabolism in general on day 5 with MK Fit's workout. Some things that can help boost or literally just like increase your metabolic rate, basically meaning you will use more energy at rest or just throughout the rest of your day, is having more muscle mass on the body, improving your sleep quality, reducing your stress. That's all I can think of right now. My head hurts. Sal also talked about phasing the workouts. This is again something that we talked about on day 3. Phasing your workouts will not only help you to continue to progress over time toward whatever your goals might be, but it will also help avoid overuse. Sal then talks about how they choose the most effective exercises. And if I had to guess, knowing Mind Pump and what they talk about, I don't necessarily think that they mean optimal, which I've talked about, I think in this video up here, this whole like optimization trend. I think he's probably more so referring to like a lot of the free workouts or free programs that you see from like people online, where it's very cardio heavy, combination exercises, no real structure or like why behind the programming. So based off the way that he talks, I think that's what he's talking about. I don't think he's necessarily saying like,
all right, if we're going to build the glutes, you will never do sumo position because that gets more of your inner thighs involved, and then we're getting the piriformis rather than the glute med, and like
all of that stuff. I don't think that's what he's talking about. All right, and the final takeaway from Sal was that he talked about these trigger sessions. I don't know what that is. I want to know.
Honey, where's my super suit?
Why do you need to know? So I went on YouTube and they do have the first week of workouts for free from the MAPS Anabolic program. It's not follow along, but it does break down each exercise. And at the end, Sal talks a little bit more about why it's programmed that way. So today's plan, we're gonna do day 1, and then I at least wanna like take a peek at day 2 because that is a trigger session and I just wanna know what the heck that is. Let's talk quickly about today's schedule. We're already changing it. I am supposed to be 30 minutes into this workout right now. Not happening. We're gonna flip the day. So I'm gonna do like meal prep and cleaning first, and then before the Eagles game later, I'm gonna do this workout. We'll chat about it. Let's finish our coffee and then we'll clean the apartment. feel like I just sat for an hour to take notes because I have so much to say about this. Okay, so right off the bat, I am definitely feeling run down today between like being a little hungover, staying out too late last night, and then just like all of the workouts from this week. Like I was definitely not using the weight that I should have been ideally for that rep range, but luckily we can still like step back and look at the science of it, even though I was not performing it to the best of my ability. So you saw in the beginning, I did my own little warm up, and I'm just addressing this off the bat because someone's gonna be like, you took off points for Caroline for not having a warm up yesterday. This wasn't a follow along workout. This was just a video talking about the exercises in the program. And looking at this programming, this was definitely a lot more focused toward like max strength than hypertrophy, which I was fine with. It just kind of surprised me. So really simply the big difference there in terms of programming, max strength is going to be a lot less reps simply because you are going to be lifting heavier weight. And when Sal talked about the programming and the phasing at the end of this video, it was interesting to hear him talk about why they start with that set and rep range. And a lot of it is to train the central nervous system how to move a lot of weight really comfortably. So that's why you'll see, especially in the big compound lifts like the barbell back squat, the chest press, it's really high sets and low rep. And that's because it's trying to get your body comfortable and used to moving a lot of weight, but you obviously can't do that for a ton of reps because you would have to take the weight down. And that's definitely an interesting concept and an interesting way to approach max strength from more of like a central nervous system. We're going to get your body used to moving in this movement pattern under a lot of stress and load. It kind of reminds me in a different way of like going back to the Movement by David workout, where as we're sitting in passive stretches, we're trying to get our central nervous system okay and feeling safe in that movement pattern or range of motion. So that's all the focus of phase one. And then in phase two, from what it seemed like Sal said, they would be moving into more of that hypertrophy range, so training like 8 to 12 reps. Sal also mentioned that they are focused on training full body throughout the week, which is very different from like a typical bodybuilding split where it'll be like back and bis, chest and tris, legs, glutes, shoulders. I don't know. I'm just making up things now. And without getting too deep into this, because this could be like a whole nother video in itself, but Sal talks a lot about muscle protein synthesis and how there are a lot of studies that show that, let's say if you hit chest on Monday, you're going to be sending this muscle building signal to your body really high on that day. But then if you wait a whole week until you train it again, that signal will have gone down, 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 down. And it's not that you're going to be starting from scratch, but a quicker way to see muscle growth is if you will hit that muscle group more frequently. I'll try and find some and leave them below, but there are tons of studies that support this, that if you have two groups of people, one who trains a muscle group once a week and another group of people who train the muscle group more than once a week, people who train the muscle group more than once a week will have more muscle gains. We're going to talk about recovery too in just a minute in this video, but that's like the basic idea without getting into like the nitty gritty of it. And if we go all the way back to what Sal said in that original video, he wants to maximize your muscle growth. And this is a good way to do it. I want to go through the programming really quickly because it's like top notch and I want you to understand why. So in general with strength programming, you want to get like your big compound lifts done at the beginning because they're going to require the most effort. And the further you get in your workout, the less energy you're going to have. So right off the bat, we start with just one set of box squats, and Sal does a really good job of explaining that the reason for this is to prime your body for the squat. This exercise is going to help teach you to sit back in your hips, really drive yourself to standing using the glutes so that then when we get into our barbell back squat next, our central nervous system is already prepared and understands how to complete this movement with tension. I've mentioned it in the Chrissy Sella video. I'm not a fan of barbell back squats. I'm not a fan of spinal loading at all. I didn't take off points for it in her video. I'm not taking points off it for it in this video. I think a lot of that is just my personal preference. And for me, the risk is not worth the reward. Then we're moving into another big compound lift, our bench press. I love that this came after the barbell squat because that's going to be a lower body exercise. Now we're moving into an upper body exercise, specifically an upper body horizontal press. And then we're coming into a pull-up, which is actually going to be the last of our like big compound lifts. And now this is an upper body exercise, but it's more focused on the back and we're getting a vertical pull. So again, the programming is just super strategic here because we're not stressing two of the same things back to back. And then we're just moving into a bunch of accessory stuff, barbell shrug. I'm not super big on these. Again, if you're looking for like muscle growth, yeah, you probably want that like look up on your shoulders shoulders. But there's definitely benefits to this, and they talk about it in the video. Functionally, your upper traps are gonna really help to stabilize and support your shoulders, so you do want to have strength there. Then we go into some curls, some skull crushers. So again, we're working biceps, then triceps, two opposing muscle groups, so we're not working the same thing back to back. Decline sit-ups. I have not had these in my repertoire in so long, and doing them, I realized how much I love them. It's a really, really great way to, in my opinion, actually functionally load your core, because you have to literally sit up, and as long as you can perform them safely, I think they're a great exercise, and doing them from a decline is just going to increase the intensity. And if we're also looking at this from a muscle building aspect, Sal makes a really good point that instead of focusing on trying to get as lean as possible to see your abdominals, you can also work on building them so they're going to protrude through the skin. And then some calf raises just to like round out the whole training. Again, another accessory movement, but even if we're thinking functionally, like really important to support the Achilles, the ankle, the knees. So I was super into this programming. Really quickly, because I was so curious about it, I did watch the video for the next day on trigger sessions. It is basically a recovery day or an active recovery day. It's like body weight lunges, band pull aparts, band pull downs, band curls, like lots of very light resistance work. And to sum it all up, essentially what they're trying to do is get a light pump and keep sending that muscle building signal to the body without it being really loud, right? Like this day, really loud, build muscle. The next day,
build muscle. Maybe think about it.
So again, if we're going back to that like muscle protein synthesis, we're trying not to hit these big plateaus. We're trying to hit smaller plateaus so that we can maximize our muscle growth. Even if your goal is not max muscle growth, I would always recommend taking active recovery days. Your body will recover better and faster if you do things like go on a walk, work on your mobility, maybe take a yoga class. Those things are going to serve you better in your recovery than just laying down on the couch all day. And again, there are studies to support that. So if we have to give this a rating on how science-backed it is, we're giving out our first 5 out of 5, baby. Let's talk about enjoyment. I do really wish that I like could have gone to the gym today. I mean, I could have. I think I just... Honestly, I feel like the video would be a lot more exciting if like I had my hands on a barbell and I was in a gym setting. But if I'm being so real with you, I don't even think my body could have handled that today. I'm really tired. So instead of like doing it for the views, we decided to do this a little bit more strategically. And then, depending on what I choose tomorrow, hopefully I can function at a higher function. But in terms of enjoyment, I still really did enjoy it. A lot of that is because I like lifting heavy things. I like working lower rep. I just think it's really empowering to like move a lot of weight with your body and just kind of celebrate your strength. So even though I had no desire to do this workout today, I am still gonna give this a 5 out of 5 for enjoyment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to our first 10 out of 10 score, which honestly I'm not surprised by. Like Mind Pump, not only have they been in this field for like decades at this point, they're always really up to date on like the latest studies that come out. They work with general population, they work with bodybuilders, they work with athletes. Like they have a lot of hands in a lot of places and can pull a lot of knowledge and understanding from that. Let's go find our bowl and we're gonna pick tomorrow's workout. What's our method today? We're gonna go closed eyes. There's 2. Tomorrow's workout is Penny Barnshaw, the garage girl, fitness girl, something like that. I've done one of Penny's workouts before. I remember really liking it. It is strength training. Hopefully our body is feeling like we can actually like lift proper weights tomorrow. And I'm very excited about this one. All right, I'm gonna take a shower, get in some PJs, get cozy, ready to watch the Eagles game. Go Birds. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video.